In the misty hills outside the sleepy village of Eldwood, where the moon always seemed a little too curious, lived Lila Voss. 16 years old, petite, with messy silver hair that refused to stay in its twin tails, and wide violet eyes that sparkled with equal parts mischief and mild panic. She wore the classic black necromancer robes, except hers were modified with too many frills and a dangerously short skirt because practicality is overrated and legs need to breathe. Lila was the village's only necromancer, not because anyone else wanted the job, but because she was the only one who accidentally blew up a local graveyard trying to summon a familiar and got stuck with the title. Tonight was special. Tonight she would finally succeed at something big. "All right, Mr. Corpse," she muttered, kneeling in the center of a glowing chalk circle surrounded by flickering black candles. "You were a strong adventurer, right? Died heroically fighting a boar or something? The villagers said you were handsome, too. Perfect test subject." The body in question belonged to one Rowan Hale, 21, tall, broad-shouldered, dark messy hair, sharp jawline, and, according to the death certificate, died 2 days ago after heroically tripping into a ravine while chasing said boar. He looked peaceful. Too peaceful. Lila had dragged him here herself, with considerable huffing and puffing, because the village undertaker charged extra for weird magic requests. She cracked her knuckles. Basic reanimation spell. Control the body, suppress the soul, bind with mana threads. Easy. I practiced on chickens. How hard can a human be? She began chanting. "By the shadows that cradle the fallen, rise. Bind flesh to will, silence the echo of life. Necro, animus, vitae." A surge of purple-black energy erupted from her palms, flooding the circle. Rowan's body jerked. His fingers twitched. His chest rose once, then twice. Lila grinned. "Yes, it worked! Rise, my loyal zombie minion. Obey your cute and powerful master." Rowan's eyes snapped open, bright green, very much alive looking. He sat up slowly, blinking. Lila froze. Zombies weren't supposed to blink. Rowan looked down at his hands, then at the torn shirt clinging to his muscular chest, then at Lila. What the actual hell? Lila squeaked and fell backward, robes hiking up dangerously. "You can talk?" Rowan rubbed his temple. "Yeah, and I remember everything. The boar, the ravine, the really embarrassing last words I shouted, and now I'm dead, but not dead, and there's a tiny goth lolly staring at me like I grew a second head." I'm not tiny," Lila protested, scrambling to her feet. Her skirt flipped up in the process, flashing lacy black panties with little skull patterns. Rowan politely averted his eyes, then immediately looked back because, well, reflexes. "Focus," Lila waved her hands. "You're supposed to be mindless. I must have messed up the soul suppression part. Just a little." "A little?" Rowan stood, towering over her. He was easily a foot taller. "I have free will, memories, and..." He poked his own chest. "No heartbeat, but I feel everything, including how cold it is, and how hungry I am. For brains? Please tell me it's not brains." Lila waved dismissively. "No brains. Zombies in my books eat, normal food, I think? Wait, no, the book said something about souls or mana or... Oh, no." Rowan groaned. "Great. I'm a defective zombie. Fantastic afterlife." Lila puffed her cheeks. "Hey, I tried my best. You're welcome for not being, rotting in a ditch." Rowan glanced around the dark clearing, then back at her. Despite everything, a small smirk tugged at his lips. "You're kinda cute when you're indignant. Like an angry kitten." Lila's face went nuclear red. Shut up! You're my minion now. You have to obey me." Rowan raised an eyebrow. "Do I? Because I feel like walking away. Or maybe running. Can zombies run? Let's test." He took one step. Lila panicked and blurted the emergency binding phrase. "By contract of resurrection, thou art bound to, me, forever, or until I say so." A faint purple chain shimmered between them, wrapping loosely around Rowan's wrist before fading. Rowan stopped. "Did you just leash me?" "It's temporary," Lila squeaked. "Probably." Rowan sighed dramatically. "I'm undead, leashed to a clumsy teenage necromancer who's shorter than my elbow. This is my life now." "Unlife," Lila corrected helpfully. They stared at each other in awkward silence. Then Rowan's stomach growled, loudly. "I think I'm still hungry," he said. "And your skirt is still, Lila looked down, shrieked, and yanked it down. "Pervert zombie? I'm dead. Does that count as perversion or just appreciating art?" Lila grabbed his wrist. "We're going home, before you eat my neighbor's cat or something." As they trudged back toward her tiny cottage on the village edge, Rowan muttered, "This is going to be a long unlife." Sunlight stabbed through the curtains like it had a personal grudge. Rowan woke up on the floor of Lila's living room, wrapped in a blanket that smelled faintly of lavender and old spellbooks. His body felt weird. No pain from the fall that killed him. No hunger pangs. Just a strange, hollow coldness. And then he noticed the girl. Lila was asleep on the couch above him, one leg dangling off the edge, robe hiked up again. Seriously, did she own pants? Drooling slightly on a pillow embroidered with skulls. Rowan stared for exactly 3 seconds too long before forcing his gaze to the ceiling. Okay. Ethics. Dead guy. Still counts as creepy. Got it. He sat up carefully. The blanket slipped, revealing he was still in his torn adventurer pants and nothing else. Lila had insisted on preserving dignity by not stripping him fully. Small mercies. A loud yawn. Lila stirred, stretched like a cat, and her robe slipped off one shoulder, exposing pale skin and the strap of a black bra. Rowan's brain short-circuited. "Morning?" Lila blinked blearily. Zombie boy, you're still here." "Couldn't exactly leave," he said dryly. "Magic leash, remember?" She sat up, robe falling further. Rowan turned his head so fast he nearly gave himself whiplash. Lila noticed, grinned. "What? Never seen a girl wake up before?" "Not one who accidentally turned me into her personal undead butler," he shot back. She hopped off the couch, landing right in front of him. Too close. Way too close. Her chest was at eye level. Rowan swallowed. "Personal space? Ever heard of it?" "Nope." She poked his cheek. "You're cold. Like a really well-preserved popsicle. Cool." Flattering. She circled him like he was a new pet. "No rot? No smell? Your skin's still firm, muscular. Did you work out a lot before you died?" Rowan crossed his arms over his bare chest. "Yeah, chopping wood, fighting boars, normal guy stuff. Stop poking." "But you're so bouncy." She poked his bicep again. He grabbed her wrist gently. "Lila, boundaries." She pouted. "Fine, but you're my first successful human resurrection. Well, semi-successful. You're supposed to protect me, carry stuff, fight monsters. That's Minion 101. Rowan raised an eyebrow. "And the ecchi fan service?" "What ecchi fan service?" she asked innocently, then bent over to pick up a fallen spellbook, skirt flipping up again. Rowan groaned and covered his eyes. That right there." Lila straightened, cheeks pink. "It's not on purpose. My robes are just aerodynamic." "Sure they are." She huffed. "Anyway, breakfast time. I think zombies can eat normal food. The book was unclear." She dragged him to the kitchen, a tiny room with herbs hanging from the ceiling and a stove that looked like it survived a war. Lila started frying eggs. Rowan leaned against the counter, watching. "You're really short," he observed. "I'm fun-sized," she snapped. "And you're freakishly tall. We balance each other." He smirked. "Like a comedy duo, the clumsy necromancer and her snarky zombie." "Exactly." She turned, holding a plate of slightly charred eggs. "Eat up. Minions need fuel." Rowan took a cautious bite. Tasted normal. Good, even. "Huh. Not bad." Lila beamed. See? I'm a great master. Then the door burst open. A burly villager, Mr. Garrick, the blacksmith, stormed in. Lila Voss, you grave-robbing little... He froze when he saw Rowan shirtless, eating eggs. You resurrected the dead guy? Lila waved cheerfully. Hi, Mr. Garrick. Rowan says hello. Rowan waved awkwardly. Hey, sorry about the whole dying thing. Garrick's face purpled. This is unnatural. The elders will... Rowan stood slowly. He was taller and broader than Garrick. And undead. Intimidation factor? High. Easy, Rowan said calmly. I'm not eating brains, just eggs. And I'm house-trained, mostly. Garrick backed up. This ain't right. Lila stepped forward. He's my minion, legally bound, no refunds. Now shoo! Garrick fled. Lila high-fived Rowan. Her hand slapped his bare chest. Teamwork! Rowan sighed. This is my life. Word spread fast. By noon, half the village was whispering about Lila's hot zombie boyfriend. Lila was mortified. Rowan was amused. They think we're dating, he said as they walked through the market. Lila had forced him into a cloak to hide the undead paleness, but it did nothing for his height or the fact that he looked like he'd stepped out of a romance novel. We're not, Lila hissed. You're my servant. Minion, Rowan corrected. Big difference. A group of teenage girls giggled behind their hands, eyeing Rowan. One whispered loudly, He's so tall. And those abs. Lila grabbed Rowan's arm possessively. Mine! Back off! Rowan raised an eyebrow. Jealous? No! Territorial! Important distinction. They reached the quest board outside the tavern. A crumpled notice caught Lila's eye. Goblin nest in Blackthorn Woods. Reward 50 gold. Urgent. Lila's eyes sparkled. Perfect! Our first quest together! You'll fight, I'll support with magic. Classic master-minion dynamic. Rowan eyed the paper. Goblins. Nasty little bastards. You sure about this? Of course! I'm a genius necromancer. You turned me into a sentient zombie instead of a mindless one. Details. They set off. The woods were dark, tangled, and smelled like damp regret. Half an hour in, they found the nest. A cave with crude wooden barricades and the unmistakable sound of goblins arguing over stolen underwear. Rowan cracked his knuckles. All right, let's do this. Lila nodded. I'll buff you. Strength enhancement, she chanted. Purple light wrapped around Rowan. He flexed. Feels stronger. Nice. Then he charged. Goblins screeched. Clubs swung. Rowan punched one into next week, dodged another, grabbed a third by the neck and tossed it like a rag doll. Lila cheered. Go, zombie boyfriend! Not your boyfriend! A goblin archer knocked an arrow, aimed at Lila. Rowan saw it, moved faster than he thought possible. Undead speed plus buff. Goblins screeched. Clubs swung. Rowan punched one into next week, dodged another, grabbed a third by the neck and tossed it like a rag doll. Lila cheered. Go, zombie boyfriend! Not your boyfriend! A goblin archer knocked an arrow, aimed at Lila. Rowan saw it, moved faster than he thought possible. Undead speed plus buff. He tackled Lila out of the way. They rolled across the ground. Rowan ended up on top, pinning her gently. Her robe tore at the shoulder, exposing more skin in the curve of her chest. Time froze. Rowan's face was inches from hers. You okay? Lila's face was beet red. Yeah, thanks. A goblin squealed nearby. Rowan sighed, stood, and yeeted the archer into a tree. Stay there. He finished the rest in a blur of fists and snarky one-liners. When the last goblin fled, Rowan returned, covered in dirt and goblin goo, cloak shredded. Lila sat up, robe barely hanging on. You saved me. Minion duty, he muttered, avoiding looking directly at her, though the view was motivating. Lila squeaked and covered herself. Pervert! You're the one whose clothes keep betraying you. She pouted. It's the budget robes, cheap fabric. Rowan offered his torn cloak. Here, before the next goblin gets ideas. Lila took it, wrapping it around herself. It dwarfed her. She looked like a kid in Dad's coat. Thanks, she mumbled. Rowan ruffled her hair. Don't die on me, master. Who else is going to fix this mess? Lila looked up at him, violet eyes wide. You're kinda nice for a zombie. Don't get used to it. They walked back to the village as the sun set, shoulder to shoulder. Well, shoulder to elbow in her case. Behind them, the reward poster fluttered in the wind. The quest was done. But the story? Just beginning. To be continued.